What was the new goal?
500 million.
Whoa.
Not per month.
Right. That was the Beachbody. That's how much they were making at the time.
That's how much they were making. Yeah. Because we met with them, we met with the owners, we went to California, and, they wanted to learn from us on ads. They wanted to figure out what we were doing for traffic, because we were really, really good at traffic, thanks to my partner, not me. And we wanted to learn how to get into TV space, because they were dominating all the TV ads and doing really well in it. So it's like this little trade-off, and it never panned out, So, but during that time, we found out what numbers they were doing and all this stuff, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to go and be the biggest company. And so these goals that we were making, it was just this limited belief of like, what we really wanted was we were wanting to go and feel good about ourselves. We were wanting to increase our self-worth. But instead of saying that out loud, because we didn't really know, because we don't look at what we actually do in our life and why, we just go, I want to make 10 to 15. But at some point it becomes, I want to be the best. It's like, I don't want, it's like, there's only number one. There's only one number one. We want to be number one. And it was, first, we're going to be number one in the country. And then after that, we're going to be number one in the world in our category before we branch into another category. That's the goal now. And then we started game planning. How are we going to do that? First, it was, okay, first we need to get to 500 million. How are we going to do it? So then I created this plan on how we can hit like maybe about 200 million. And I know we can hit it because I had it all planned out. I know we're going to run into roadblocks, but I crunched numbers. It would work. I've done this over and over and over and over, and it worked every time. It's not rocket science, on how to make more money. It's just, there's only certain components, sell more product, more traffic, all this stuff. So we created that. We created the idea of like, okay, we're going to strive for it. We're going to do this, and the plans were in place. We were in a 6,500 square feet office at the time. It was our third office already, right? Third, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, third. We already had the new office planned out because that's how we were going to scale. We were doing phone sales. That was part of the revenue stream. We had this whole sales funnel, how we did everything. And that would be able to hold a lot of people. We had about 40 something salespeople just on the sales side, right? It's not including the marketing team and all the other people. And I was going to expand it out to 200. And I was running the phone team, and then we were going to get leads from other people. We were only using our leads. So then, traffic conversion and delivery of product. So how do we increase traffic? Get more leads, or drive more traffic online. Well, that was going to continue, and then we're going to amplify it with more traffic from other people, hence get their leads, so we can increase the ROI or increase the lifetime value of. So then nobody else had phone teams, so we were really, really good at it. We invested a lot of money and time and training systems and all this stuff. So that was going to just level us to a whole nother bracket. So we needed a space. We needed to set the program, like the training programs, because turnover rates are really high. How do we motivate the people? How do we create like the CRM softwares to be able to go and handle more leads, more volumes without getting totally, jumbled up in the back end? So we set up all this stuff, and now the next piece is we needed to get into the office. So then I started going in, and it's like, all right, we're going to break down this wall, add this, because I love doing that stuff, And so the build out was happening. It was almost done. And then I experienced that shift in consciousness that woke me up. And then I realized, I don't care about 500 million. Yeah, it's what's the point, Like, no, that's nothing. That's like silly. It's like, what I want is just to maintain what I'm experiencing now. That is better than what anybody can ever, what I can ever do. So I had that awakening, and I realized that nothing I can do on the outside was going to create more happiness. And I didn't have this lack of self-worth, this needing to prove anymore, because I was able to see exactly where it came from. And I realized that it was just fear, and it wasn't just an idea. I experienced how it's like to not have it. It's totally different, And when I experienced it and I had that sense of happiness and all these things, I realized that's what I want. That is the key to life. This is what I really want inside. And all of these goals that I'm creating on the outside is just because I think I think accomplishing these goals would get me what it is that I just received already. So why would I go and chase after that goal when I already got it now? This is what I want.
So what did that feel like? So you had this shift. Mm-hmm. Did you do anything to get this shift that you had?
Oh, yeah. I've been doing yoga for about 2.5 years. I've been meditating about 3 times a week for about 5 minutes every time. Well, not much, but it helped. It did help. And the yoga was about 3 to 4 times a week for about 30 minutes, 40 minutes or so every time. And I had motivation to figure out what was going on with me. My mind was starting to deteriorate. I was borderline schizophrenia. I was starting to see shit in front of me. I was having problems understanding my managers doing our meetings. I couldn't understand complex situations. I couldn't balance and connect dots together anymore. And I had a tremendous amount of pain in my body that wouldn't go away. No matter what stuff I knew how to do, couldn't make it go away, and I didn't know why. All the other stress, I was able to handle it. But these things, it was stopping my ability to work. Can't understand people. All right. I'm in a fitness company, but I am constantly in pain. I couldn't hold out a 20-pound dumbbell. Too much pain for my back. The pain was in my lower back, right side. So I had a lot of motivation to figure that out. And all I knew was that something to do with my stress. That was it. Couldn't be anything else. All the rehab stuff I knew how to do, doing it, didn't go away. So I went to this event in Utah, and it was like not marketing. It was more like a kind of more like a social gathering event. People do talks and stuff, like a mastermind type of place, but super chill. And the last day of the event, it was 4 days. The last day of the event, I started to gain some really powerful insights from a few of the talks. I remember Marissa Peer. She did a talk on, she does the hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
So she was there, some really awesome people was there. And she was there. She did a talk on not being enough, and with her, I think, British accent or something. And it was cool. And I remember after she said that, I thought to myself and realized, wow, I don't think I'm enough. And then another friend of mine, Jesse Elder, and he did a talk. It was on ethical cult building. I remember like the title was like, what? I don't know what this is going to be about, but you know what? He could do the splits, so I loved it. He started off like just dropping into the splits, and I was like, yeah, I want to do that. So he did a talk, and really, really awesome points, big takeaways. But the biggest one was, got to stop caring about what people thought of you. Because if you do, you can't be authentic. You can't be yourself. You're just pretending. You're being fake. So I was like, of course, that makes sense. I was really big on authenticity at the time. I was even telling people to be authentic. And so I thought to myself, okay, so I'm going to, do I care about what other people think? And I was like, well, no, I'm totally myself, And then I kept thinking, and I thought about one thing. I go, oh yeah, here when I'm doing videos and stuff, I always do so many takes because I'm so afraid about, what somebody will think if I messed up here, or if my hair looks funny, or I'm like, okay, so I had to care about that. Oh, and I also care about if I have a little extra fat because I need to be super rich, but I ate a burger last night, and and also I care about, and one by one, I started racking it up. And once I opened it up, and I remember once I got to like number 8 or 10, I was like, whoa. I care like crazy. I care like crazy what people think about me. And then I realized, I'm so fake. Wow. Oh, damn. When did this happen? When did I start having to act all the time? Oh, God. And I just like sitting there, just realizing it's one thing to like know that you're doing it. And it's another thing to believe, hence what we were talking about at the beginning, believe that you're so authentic, that you're just being real, and then realizing that you're full of shit. That's not what happened. And I remember sitting there going, oh man, fuck that. I used to curse a lot back then. And I was like, no, fuck that. No. Now on, I'm gonna not give a shit about anybody, what they say. No, fuck that. I'm not gonna give a shit. So I just like kept repeating it. Like, this is how I'm gonna do it now, moving forward. So then that night we all took mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms, not Bendistal, all right? The kind that gets you to fly. Now, and we're all chilling and having a good time. And I remember I was sharing with people how I grew up. And usually I tell people the fear-based story. I was picked on and how struggling I was and how bad life was growing up. And I needed to prove myself. And that is how that was like the drive that I had. I needed to go and make so much money that I didn't ever worry about money again. And I needed to prove to all the people that didn't believe in me that I was better. Yeah. That was my normal story. Yeah. But that night, I just shared openly, and it was a combination of the mushrooms, combination of the talks, and combination of doing yoga and meditation already for 2.5 years. And so I shared the other version that we talked about earlier, right? Everything was great. I was inspired with, Arnold movies, my neighbor across the street, super jacked, and we worked out together. It's like 3 brothers. And, so that was the story that inspired me to exercise and eventually, and turn it into the six-pack company that I had. And so as I started to talk about what happened afterwards, I realized that the motivation I had for the next thing, which was to prove myself, it didn't fit the story that I told of everything was fine. And suddenly I was like, oh, whoa, I started to do this thing because I needed to prove myself. I needed to show them I was better. And then I had this realization that, wait, I just said a story of how I grew up without having to see my childhood as this fear-based needing to prove. And now I just looked at the next event in my life, and it was fueled by needing to prove. That's strange. Okay. Anyways, next event. And then I said the next event, same thing happened. I was needing to prove myself, and that's what drove this next milestone in my life. And I was like, whoa. It drove that one too. And then I said the next one, and it was the same thing. And suddenly I'm sitting there going, oh my God, my entire life, all the motivation for what I'm doing, the life motivation inside was based on needing to prove. Needing to prove, feelings of unworthiness. And I'm going to show them. And I was like, whoa. But I just authentically shared my experience of childhood without any pain, without none of that stuff didn't even exist. And I thought to myself, this question, I asked myself, what would have happened if I looked at my childhood as the version without pain, as the version of everything was fine? Then what would have happened in my first milestone? Probably would have been different. What about the second? Yeah, it would have been different. And the third. And I started realizing that every single milestone in my life was all driven by this needing to prove, this feeling of not being enough. But if I never thought of myself as that, everything in my life would have been different. So I was sitting there realizing that I actually only lived the life that I lived because of this belief in my head. Because of this story in my head that this is who I am, this is what I'm about, and this is what I need to do. So then I asked myself, if I think this story is me, and suddenly I just changed the story, does that mean I just changed? I looked down. Nope. I'm still here. I didn't change. Well, then if I didn't change, then what the hell is this voice in my head? That's not me.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not me, then what am I? And I remember like just silence, you know,
Like what the fuck?
and then I heard this little small voice. You are the soul. I'm like, oh, that's what they mean now. You know, you hear people go, yeah, your soul. Yeah, my soul. Yeah. Now let me just listen to this voice. That's me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, I'm the soul. Oh, okay. So if I'm the soul, that means I'm not this voice in my head. Oh, that means that voice, I don't need to listen to any of that stuff. All this garbage. Okay, what's been driving my entire life? Oh, this voice in my head. Where did this voice come from? Oh, it came from this perspective that I had when I was a child. And then I kept replaying all the stories constantly to drive everything in my life. So that means if I change the voice, then everything would change. But I don't even need to actually listen to the voice anymore. As in, not listen, but the voice isn't in charge of me because I'm not the voice.
Right. Yeah.
So many people think that they are, oh, it's me talking in my head. That's me. See, I'm saying this. No. It's just like saying, oh, see, I'm doing this. Yes, your body is doing that, but you are not the movement. You are not the voice. You're the awareness, the soul behind it.
Yeah, because it's funny because there's a book up there. It's called The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. And he has a book called The Untethered Soul, which is where I first learned this concept of who are you? And it's like, if you can hear the voice, who's listening to the voice? Like, who is that person?
The annoying roommate.
Voice, you know?
You remember that?
Yeah, exactly.
I think chapter 2.
Yeah. So it's again, for someone who hasn't gone down this spiritual path, like maybe we're sounding like two idiots to you, like, because for the first time I discovered it.
Stop listening to your voice. They're going, man, what the heck are they talking about? Yeah, you hear that voice? That's not you.